As it's your boy Yaya, and I'm gonna make a video on the pound for pound list. So because it's the end of the year, and I know you guys are dying for me to actually record a video about the pound for pound list. So your boy is gonna record the video about who's gonna stay on the list from these fighters that we have. So at the moment we have like 15 fighters on the pound for pound list. We have Islam Makhachev as number one, then John Jones, then Alex Pereira. There's like a big argument going on, like who is actually the pound for pound. And when you ask Dana White, it's like, let me let me tell you something about John Jones. John Jones is the big. John Jones is the best. You can ask him any question, literally, and he would just answer this one question. He would just say John Jones. But that's not what we're discussing. So we'll start from number 15, actually. So we'll start from Charles Oliveira. I will explore the options that he will have in the future, the matchups that he will have, and also what rank would he be going higher or lower down the ranks. So Charles Oliveira, who's he gonna fight next? I see him fighting. I don't see him fighting Islam Makhachev. That's a possibility, although. Even if he doesn't win any more fights, he's already got like a couple of victories over his on his record. I think Charles Oliveira already has earned the right to actually fight for the title because he was like a former champion. He lost to Islam Makhachev, and that was he lost to Islam Makhachev, and after that he only had one loss, and that was against Arman Tsarukyan. And Arman Tsarukyan is fighting for the title now, and that was a pretty close loss. It was a 3 round fight, and many times in that fight he was close to finishing Arman. So Charles Oliveira definitely has a chance to face Islam Makhachev if Islam Makhachev does not move up. But I see Islam using his grappling, actually moving up the weight class. I think he will get a chance, depending on, again, Bilal is fighting Shafkat, and if Bilal wins, Islam definitely doesn't move up. But if Shafkat wins that match, then that explores the options for Islam to actually move up and then win the title potentially. So Charles Oliveira, the champ, has a name, and it's Charles Oliveira. I see him I don't see him beating Islam. Even if he does get like a title shot against Islam, I see him actually losing to Islam in like a close fight. I think he will put in a much better performance than he did last time. But because we have seen Charles Oliveira actually getting hurt during the fights, I think Islam has polished its striking even more than last time. So it's gonna be very hard for Charles to actually hurt Islam on the feet. So we've seen how Islam, when Charles gets hurt, people don't jump on him because they're scared of the jiu-jitsu, but it's not going to be the case against Islam. We saw that in the first fight as well. Islam would jump on. Islam might even just take him to the ground. And the thing about Islam is not like a typical double leg, single leg. He can do that. He can wrestle, like he can do like leg takedowns, but also he's very good at trips, and that comes from his background in judo. So Islam can always like use his trips. Maybe at the end of the round, land like a couple of ground and pound shots. And Islam's jiu-jitsu is also very top notch. So I don't see Charles Oliveira beating Islam. I can see Ilya Topuria. Ilya Topuria, the sanitizer boy, if he actually moves up, I see a good fight over there. I don't know how Ilya is gonna look at 155, but I would say he's probably a little bit favored because I just think Ilya's striking is just so much better than everybody else. I think he might be the best striker in the UFC right now. So, and Charles has a habit of getting hurt, and we're seeing him getting dropped with the left hook, and Ilya's best weapon is left hook. I can see Ilya coming down, closing the distance, catching him, dropping him, getting the top control, landing a couple of shots. Charles just going for shooting for like the triangles or something, but then not having enough energy, and then Ilya just finishing him with a ground and pound. I can also see Charles playing tall. Like Charles is a pretty tall fighter. He plays long as well. I can see him keeping Ilya at a distance with his teeps. But I just don't think Charles Oliveira would be able to finish him. So I got Ilya Topuria. That one. So Charles Oliveira, I don't think he stays in the top 15. I think next year, he just goes down in the ranks. I'm a big fan of Charles Oliveira. I love him, but I think it's just not. I think the best days of Charles Oliveira have passed away. Okay, so now we have Sean Strickland. Let me let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You're a weak man. Let me tell you something. Sean Strickland, who's he gonna fight? So I think he loses to Dricus Duplessis. I think he goes to the corner. He starts crying about it. I think the press conference is like a mess. So he cries in the press conference, then he loses the fight, and then he cries about it, and then he demands the title shot again. He says, "I want to fight. I want to fight again." This no, I don't see Sean Strickland actually doing good this year. And then I think the fight that would make sense for him would be against Robert Whitaker because that's a fight that we haven't seen. He's fought Israel Adesanya. I don't want to see the fight again. He has fought Apollo Costa. That was a boring fight. But I'm not. I don't want to see the fight again. So I think Sean Strickland versus Robert Whitaker. This is the fight that we need to see because Robert lost to Hamzat. He needs like a tune-up fight. Maybe he can have one fight before that with Sean Strickland. When he loses to Dricus Duplessis, I think that will be the fight to make. Sean O'Malley. You know, Merab is boring as fuck. Marav is boring as fuck. He just laid on top of me. He kissed me 3 times. I could have won that fight. Marav is so boring. I could have won. Joe Rogan, I love you. I love you, Joe Rogan. Sean O'Malley, I can see him getting I think for Sean O'Malley, what's gonna happen? Let me just go down the weight class actually. So if you go to 135 weight class, Sean O'Malley, he's not getting a title shot. Look, if Umar wins, Sean O'Malley, I know he lost a fight, but the way he actually lost a fight, he got 50-44 by Merab. He was getting destroyed the whole fight, so I don't think he deserves a title shot. He needs to have one more fight. So I think Umar beats Merab, and then Sean O'Malley can have like depends on how Umar beats Merab, right? If it's like a close fight, then they can have a rematch. But if it's like, if Umar just starches Merab, let's say, even then I don't want to see Sean O'Malley versus Merab. It's just we've seen that it wasn't an entertaining fight. I think Sean O'Malley versus Peter Yan, that rematch, oh my god, guys. Or Sean O'Malley versus Corey. I think that's what I want to see actually. Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sarahagan. That's the match that has not happened yet, and that is a match that UFC needs to book for the fans. We need to see that. O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen. Dana White, just get it booked. And the winner can get the title shot. And I can see O'Malley actually edging it out. Although it's like a 50-50 match because we know how good Sandhagen is. But then going out and then fighting Omar, that won't be a good fight actually, Omar versus O'Malley. But I see Omar just outclassing O'Malley because we're seeing the takedown defense of O'Malley wasn't that good. He was getting taken down by Marab. So Omar is definitely going to be able to do it. I believe Omar is faster with the double legs. So O'Malley, I just don't see him moving higher in ranks. I think he just stays there. And then Max Holloway. We're going to find that on October 26th, brother. It is what it is, brother. Gonna find that on October 26th. So Max Holloway, who is Max Holloway gonna fight? With Max Holloway, the potential options are, so Max Holloway can fight at featherweight. I see Ilia Topuria winning the match against Alexander Volkanovski. We need to go back to Australia to have that event. I can see him going to beating Volkanovski, and then Holloway getting a fight against. They could book Holloway versus Lopez or Holloway versus Movsar Abdullayev. I do want to see Holloway versus Lopez. I think that would be a good fight. Other than that, he's already fought everybody else. He's fought Jair, he's fought Brian Ortega, he's fought Brendan Allen. There's not much to explore for Holloway, to be honest. And he doesn't want to fight lower in ranks. As big of a star Holloway is, I think he should be looking for big fights, maybe potentially move up to lightweight because of it. We know Holloway is getting bigger with time, is putting on more weight. So potentially a matchup against Charles Oliveira, I think that might be, if he's not welcoming Ilia Topuria into the division, then you can have a matchup against Charles Oliveira. Maybe like a fight against, I don't know, Holloway versus Dan Hooker or something like this, or maybe like Michael Chandler. I think that would be a good fight. Or maybe you could have a Dustin Poirier has already fought twice. Maybe like a rematch against Dustin Gaethje or something like that. I think that would be a good one. Do I see Holloway? I think Holloway kind of stays at the same place because I think if he stays at featherweight and if he fights Diego Lopez, I see him beating Diego Lopez. I think if he goes up to lightweight, and if he faces any of the guys that I mentioned, if he faces like Chandler or Dan Hooker or let's say Justin Gaethje, I see him beating them again. So I think Holloway probably, by the end of the year, Holloway probably just moves up the weight class. He probably just moves up the ranks in pound for pound. Then we have Volkanovski. I don't see any bright future. I think his best days are behind him. Volkanovski, as much as I love him, Volkanovski, because he's fighting Ilia Topuria next. I mean, he has a shot. Maybe he comes back with a different game plan. Maybe he just, I don't know, he like takes a lot of steroids and do something. I don't know. Maybe just comes up with like a different game plan. Just do like a leg kicks that against Ilia Topuria, but it's not effective because Ilia Topuria's got one of the best leg kicks himself, so he can neutralize that at the same time. And anytime you do a leg kick, you can get countered with like a cross, and you want to play that game with Ilya. So how's he gonna? He's not like a dominant sort of wrestler, so how's he? He's not gonna be able to like take Ilya down and do that. He's gonna be like a striking battle most probably, and I just don't think at this point Volkanovski has what it takes in his tank to beat Ilya Topuria. I don't think it's gonna happen. So I think Ilya just beats him, and then depends on. I think he gets knocked out, to be honest, and depends on how badly he gets knocked out. Is he gonna be able to be back by the end of this year? Probably get like a fight against like Diego Lopez or Movsar Evloev if they didn't have the title shot already. Yeah, who else is gonna fight? He's already fought Yair Rodriguez. He's already fought Brian Ortega. Maybe just go down in ranks and fight one of those guys. I don't know, maybe like Aljamain Sterling or something. But again, I don't see him beating Aljamain Sterling. I think Sterling just gets like the back control and beat him. So that might be, yeah. So for Volkanovski, I don't see him moving higher in the ranks. Leon Edwards, I think whoever they book him against, Leon Edwards, I don't see him winning the next fight. I think if you go to 170, Leon Edwards, the most probable fight for him is going to be against Sean Brady. I think that's what they're trying to book. Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards. I think Brady's going to be too much. I think it's going to look exactly like what it looked against Bilal. Bilal just constant pressure, wrestling and setting up with a couple of strikes, throw a couple of punches. Brady doesn't kick much, but he has like he has decent boxing. So throws a couple of punches, go for the wrestling. I just don't think Leon has. He was going to be able to stop the takedowns from Brady. He was barely stopping the takedowns from Usman. And Usman, during that time, his knees are not even the same. So we know Usman doesn't wrestle on the same level. And Brady at this stage, he's already got the momentum. He's on like a winning streak. It's gonna be very hard. It's gonna be very hard for Leon to actually stop the takedowns. He can come up with like a, I don't know, like a head kick or something, because Leon always has something like this, or like an elbow strike or something. But I think his output is very low. The chances of that happening are really rare. So I don't see like a headshot dead sort of moment in this fight. I just don't think it's gonna happen. So I think Leon probably just moves down the ranks by the end of the year. I see Pantoja winning it. I see Pantoja winning the next fight against whoever he gets the fight, unless it's like Muhammad Mukayev, and because we know our DJ is not coming back. There's no way DJ is coming back, and then he wins another fight potentially by the end of this. So I believe Pantoja probably got like two more wins. Whoever they're gonna book him against, like who is there to actually get booked? They're not gonna book him against Royval or Marino. He's already beaten them. Amir Albazi, but he lost to Marino, so there's not much point. And then Kai Kara France, I just don't think Kai Kara has enough to actually beat him. And then Manil Kopp, even though he looked really good in the last fight, I don't think Manil is gonna be. I mean, you could potentially, Manil is pretty down in the ranks. It's like number 6. You could potentially book Manil Kopp versus Pantoja, but again, I just don't think he's gonna beat Pantoja. So I think Pantoja get 2 wins by the end of this year, and he stays the champion, and he probably goes. Now is the time that we start acknowledging Pantoja actually, just so it starts moving up the ranks actually. And then we have Tom Aspinall. Hello, John. Tom Aspinall. I think Big Tom just goes up in ranks. I think Big Tom by the end of this year, he first of all he beats John Jones, or maybe if John Jones doesn't take the fight, they put him against Cyril Gane for the title unification, and then it starches him, and then he gets one more victory by the end of this year. Tom Aspinall, who is he gonna fight? So let's say Tom Aspinall beats Cyril Gane or John Jones, and then I see Pereira moving up. You know what, guys? I see Pereira actually. If Pereira fights, I don't know, because they might make Hamza versus Pereira. It could. It's a possibility if Hamza Khan goes up and he completely just destroys Pereira. I think even in that case, I think Pereira just moves up. I think they'll make a fight. They will just give him like a straight up title shot against Pereira versus Tom Aspinall. I think they will just do that. Whoever's the champion, whether it's Jones or Tom Aspinall. According to me, it will be Tom Aspinall, because I don't think there's anything left for Pereira to do at light heavyweight. He's already beaten like the top guys over there. And even if, or if he fights Ankalaev, let's say, and he beats him, starches Ankalaev, I think they're still gonna make like a light heavyweight versus a heavyweight champion fight, which is gonna sell a lot. So I see Pereira actually fighting Tom Aspinall. I think Tom Aspinall beats John Jones Yeah, just imagine, guys. Tom Aspinall starting John Jones and Pereira in the same year. That would be the biggest. He would be the fighter of the year. Like Tom Aspinall would literally be the fighter of the year. And I don't see any of those guys beating Tom Aspinall. I think if those fights get made, I think he just starches both of them. So I see Tom Aspinall actually moving very high. There might be like debates of Tom Aspinall being like the pound for pound greatest fighter, pound for pound best fighter right now. Merab Dvalishvili, Merab, just unfortunate for Merab that his next fight is Omar. I think he loses that fight, and then nobody would want to fight Merab because Merab is like a hard fight, and at the same time, it's probably not the most entertaining fight. So I don't think Sugar is gonna try to fight him. I don't think Sanhagen is gonna try to fight him. They might make Peter, but again, I don't want to see him against Peter Yan. He's 50-44 to Peter Yan. Although I do think the fight again, Peter Yan would come up a much better version of himself than the last time. But I just don't think that's going to be good enough to actually beat Merab. Stylistically, Merab is just not a good matchup for Peter Yan. So they might just make Omar's not going to. Omar, depending upon how Omar actually wins the fight, if it's like a close decision, they might make a rematch. But I doubt it. I think they might make Corey Sanhagen versus Merab, or like a Davison Figueiredo versus Merab. But then he's going to have to go down in ranks. So I don't see Merab staying at the same position. I think he goes a little bit down the ranks. Dricus Du Plessis, because I think Hamza Chimaev is going to move up the ranks, I think Dricus Du Plessis actually retains the title. I don't see anyone else in the weight division actually beating Dricus Du Plessis. He definitely wins the next match. I bet you guys, dude. He's gonna make Sean Strickland fans cry. I know you guys are talking about, dude, Sean Strickland won the first fight. Did you not see the fight, dude? Sean Strickland, he's such a reckless dude. He's such an entertaining guy. We want Sean Strickland as the champion, and then you see Sean Strickland actually fight. Well, what did he do against Apollo Costa? Like with Sean, the thing is, if you're attacking Sean, that's the only time when Sean is gonna like. But even then, he doesn't fight. It's only when he can bully someone. Let's say if someone doesn't know how to throw a punch back, that's the only time when Sean Strickland can actually put the pace on you and he can actually bully you. But when he has like punches coming at him when somebody's trying to put it on him, he's only jabbing. So I just see Dricus Du Plessis. I love him. I think he's gonna go even higher in ranks. Maybe if Hamza goes up and he beats Alex Pereira and then he comes back and he gets the title shot by the end of the year and he beats Dricus Du Plessis. But I think Dricus is still gonna like stay at the same position maybe. Belal, I see Belal losing the next fight. I think for Belal, he's gonna lose to Shavkat Rakhmonov. And then who's he gonna? And then if Shavkat gets the title shot against Islam after that, then Belal is not even getting the title shot. Then he might have to like fight somebody else, and then he might have to fight Jack Della Maddalena. I don't see him beating Jack Della Maddalena. So I think it's not. So for most of the fighters, like I'm going through the list, unfortunately, I feel like most of the fighters are just gonna drop down in ranks. So Belal, I don't see him beating. I do not see him beating Jack Della Maddalena. I think Jack has very good scrambling ability. I think on the feet he's just gonna starch Belal up. And we saw Khabib actually saying it, like, how are you gonna beat Belal? You need to actually be able to finish him. Jack Della Maddalena is one of those fighters who can actually finish Belal. Like we've seen Jack against all of the guys that he's fighting. He finishes most of the guys. His finishing rate is very high. He's one of the crispiest boxers that we have in UFC right now. I just don't think Belal has enough to actually stop this guy. Belal might be able to take him down, but again, Jack Della Maddalena's scrambling ability, staying safe from getting finished, it's so good. I don't think Belal is going to be able to do it. So I see him losing the fight. I see him not getting an immediate title shot, and then I see him getting a fight against maybe, I don't know, Kamaru Usman or like Jack Della Maddalena, and I don't think he's going to be able to. Like Usman against, I think Belal beats Usman, right? At this point, Belal beats Usman. I just don't think he's going to be able to beat Jack Della Maddalena. Maybe stylistically as well. Like, it's probably not the best matchup. And then you have Ilia Topuria. I think Ilia Topuria just goes higher. And Ilia Topuria beats Alexander Volkanovski first. And then if they put, like, if they give the next title shot to Diego Lopez, I think Ilia starts him again. Although I think Diego Lopez would be one of the most fun matchups against Ilia Topuria. But I think Ilia just beats him. And after that, if they give it to Movsar Evloev, which would probably be like in 2026 or something, I can see Movsar just, or maybe by the end of this year, I can see Movsar just staying on top of Ilia just for 5 rounds, just Yeah, just staying on top. I can just see that. So maybe that one, but I think Ilya probably just stays the same position, or if he beats if he gets a touchdown against Diego Lopez, and then he has 2 wins in the year, then you're gonna have to move him up, because I think the fighter who is above him, Alex Pereira and John Jones, I think both of them actually loses the next fights. So I think Ilya Topuria in that situation probably just moves up next to Islam Makhachev, and he can potentially make a move to 155. So they're not gonna give him Islam Makhachev directly. They're probably gonna give him like Charles Oliveira or Dustin Poirier. And I think if he fights one of those guys, he can finish either of those guys. So I think for me, Ilya Topuria just moves up the ranks. And then you have Alex Pereira. Oh, Shama. Alex Pereira. I think Alex, if he fights Ankalaev, I can see him beating Ankalaev. I can see Ankalaev just shooting for the takedowns, but he's not able to finish because I don't think he has the best takedowns. Not being able to finish Alex, then the next round against Doss on the feet, and then Alex probably just torches him, and then throwing leg kicks. And we've seen Ankalaev just struggling with leg kicks. So I can see Alex just finishing Ankalaev. If it's Chimaev and Chimaev moves up the weight class, I don't see Alex stopping any of the takedowns. I think Chimaev is just gonna shoot like straight away. As soon as the bell rang, Chimaev shoots. He takes Alex to the ground, gets his back, finishes him, and Alex Perez black belt. Go to hell. And John Jones number 2. I think John Jones loses the next fight. I think he's either gonna try to just retire and not take the fight, or he fights Thomas Brown and then he loses the fight, and he probably is not gonna fight because we know Jones is fighting. He's taking his time. So even if he wants to fight after losing the belt, he will fight probably next, like 2026, probably potentially start of 2026 or something. By the end of the next year, I think John Jones actually drops in ranks in pound for pound, and I think Islam Makhachev stays on top. I don't care if he's fighting at the same weight class or if he moves up the weight class. I don't see any fighter right now from 155 to 170 that can beat Islam Makhachev. And guys, I am being fully serious. From 155 to 170, I do not see anybody beating this. I think Islam Makhachev is the best fighter in the world right now. Look, you can have the whole 155. Arman Tsarukyan, I don't think Arman beats Islam. I think Islam is just too good. Charles Oliveira, Islam, yeah, Islam can beat him in striking. Islam can beat him in grappling. The thing is, Islam is so perfect. He's so complete. Justin Gaethje, that's not even a comparison, because we've seen Justin Gaethje struggling against the grapplers, and Islam is going to do what Khabib did to Justin Gaethje, and even worse, because Justin Gaethje is not even going to have any success in striking. Dustin Poirier, you've already seen it. Max Holloway, people are saying, we really want to see the fight. That fight would be fun. Guys, Max Holloway is not going to be able to stop the takedowns from Islam Makhachev. That's not going to happen. And then Islam clinch work as well. It's just Dan Hooker, we've already seen it. Islam destroyed him. Micah Chandler, that's not even a question. Like, that's an easy fight for easy money for Islam. And then if he moves up to like 170, you say, oh, guys are bigger. Belal is not going to fight him, but if he fights, that's not. Belal doesn't possess any sort of threat for Islam. Leon Edwards, the activity level is too low. Leon can counter well. Nice. Is he going to be able to stop the takedowns? I don't think so. We have seen Islam grappling with bigger guys in the academy. He's grappling with guys like Leon Edwards. Oh, sorry, he's grappling with guys like Luke Rockhold. He's able to take them down. So there's no way Leon Edwards is going to be able to stop the takedown. And also, Islam is not going to be like Usman and just stay on top of Leon Edwards. Islam Jiu-Jitsu is pretty high level. Like, he's going to be looking for submissions, potentially exploring any options. And when you're fighting with the bigger guys, they don't move as fast. So you can do more Jiu-Jitsu on the ground. Shavkat Rakhmonov, again, I don't see him beating Islam. Kamaru Usman, good wrestling, but he's not going to be able to... He doesn't have the jiu-jitsu, required jiu-jitsu to be able to face Islam, and he can't take Islam down. That's not going to happen. Even though Usman is a bigger guy, he's not going to be able to do it. And Islam Makhachev is a much better striker. He's faster than him. Jack Della Maddalena might be one of the hardest fight, because that's a bigger guy. Plus he moves very fast. Plus Maddalena actually has got like knockout power. He's got crispy boxing. So that match, Islam has to take him down to actually be able to win that match. So I see Jack Della Maddalena might be one of the hardest fight for Islam Makhachev. Other than that, I don't see... Sean Brady might be like one of the toughest fights as well, because Sean Brady puts a lot of pressure in. But I don't see Sean Brady actually beating us. I think Islam is a much cleaner striker. So yeah, I think Islam Makhachev stays number 1 for the whole year.